Hello everyone, welcome to Tea and Banter with me. It's me, Mary Elizabeth. Today's video is a little different, a little unique. This is my grandson William.
Hello.
And we are going to be doing a interview video on Green Arrow. And there's several reasons why I'm doing this. One is because in our house, majority of us favor Batman. My grandson favors Green Arrow, and we've had many discussions. And I want to preface this by saying I love Green Arrow, but make it clear I like the comic book Green Arrow. I do not like the TV show Green Arrow. My grandson loves the show Green Arrow. And so in our discussions, I kind of had to reiterate to him that it's not Green Arrow that I don't like. Yeah. It's the TV show I don't like. So, so I'm going to interview my grandson. And a lot of the questions or information I got was from tvfanatic.com. And what I did was just kind of look at what was written. So I wrote down some questions, a couple of quotes, and we're going to go over that. And then after the interview, I'll talk to you a little more about what else came next, and also why I kind of did this. So before we get into anything else, let's start. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
What makes Green Arrow a hero?
So I think what helps make him a hero is that he doesn't start off as one, if that makes sense, because he just really starts off as like, what's the word? Like a rich snob, I guess, type of person, until he gets on the Queen's Gambit and is stranded on Lee and Yu for 5 years, depending on the take, 5 years. And I don't know if it happened in the comics, but in the show, he's trained by Slade Wilson, and it's Deathstroke. And that he trains there and gets turned into a hero versus like someone like, for The Flash, I guess, is a good example, Barry Allen, where he's just a regular guy struck by lightning, boom, superpowers. He trained and learned to be a superhero, and then when he got off the island, he came home to stop those who were, his words, poisoning his city, and teach them not to be criminal, I guess, I don't know, kind of like vigilante stuff.
Okay. So do you think he started out as a vigilante? Or was he always just a hero?
I'd say he started out as a vigilante first, because he went with killer intention in the beginning. Like, he broke into this rich dude's place because he stole money from a bunch of people, like millions of dollars from a bunch of people, so it added up to that much. Basically 40 million, I think, was the exact amount, and he killed all of his bodyguards. He killed the entire thing. The only one that was left alive was the guy who stole the money, and then he transferred the 40 million back to everyone. So.
Okay. What do you think Green Arrow's weakness is?
Definitely his he can get cocky, and the fact that he doesn't have the same type of mind as Batman. Like, he doesn't think things through all the way. Like, one of my favorite Green Arrow villains is Prometheus, because Oliver killed his father when he came back from the island due to, I forget what he exactly did, but basically, he was like killing innocent children and families because they were poor. Like, he didn't give them, I think it was a cure for whatever whatever virus, because they couldn't afford it. It was basically like $1,000 a pill. So he decided to kill him because he made it so that a bunch of innocent children were dying. And Prometheus became Prometheus.
Okay. And I'm going to sidetrack this a little bit.
Yeah.
This is because we had this conversation recently, so it's not in my questions here, but we were talking about Prometheus on the show, and you made the comment that he's basically the bad guy Batman.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
What
sure.
do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, like, the reason I find him so compelling and a good villain is because I remember in one of the episodes, it might have been episode 8 or 9, I forget, because one of them's a crossover, so whichever one isn't the crossover that comes after the episode with Vigilante in season 5 is Oliver at the it's close to the end of the episode. Oliver goes to find him, right? He goes to find him because Prometheus kidnapped a police detective, Billy, I think his name was. He kidnapped him for leverage that, well, you find out at the end of the episode. But he goes there and he finds Prometheus, and they have a conversation about what he's there for, to make him suffer for his sins. And then they run off the rooftop, jump, and slide into the second floor, I believe. And then you see Prometheus step out of a corner, and Oliver shoots 3 arrows into his chest, which you find out it was the police detective. He put him in the suit, he put a mask, he duct taped his mouth, duct taped a sword in his hand, and he put a wireless speaker to make his voice go through it.
So what makes Prometheus like Batman?
Because he had leverage. He what I'm saying is he thought it through, and he knew Oliver was there to kill him, and he knew he could manipulate him into killing that detective if he planted it right. And if that's not a good enough example, in the next episode, Oliver finds him at a warehouse or somewhere in Star City, and a character who isn't in the comics of Green Arrow, but Felicity Smoke, she's there. And she was there to help him. So Prometheus knew Oliver was capable of beating him, but he said, you have 2 choices here. Either stop me or save Felicity. And obviously, as the hero, he wanted to go save Felicity. But, he sets up leverages in that way, and that's why he's kind of the bad guy Batman. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what the inspiration was for the development of Green Arrow, the superhero?
Yeah, it was a novel, which the novel was based off of Robin Hood, but it wasn't Robin Hood. The novel that he was inspired by wasn't Robin Hood. It was just a retelling of Robin Hood, basically. It was called The Green Archer, I want to say. It was called The Green Archer. It came out back in 1938, 39. Around the time that Batman came out, that novel was made. And Green Arrow came out a year or 2 after that because he was inspired by that novel. And that's what made him make Green Arrow.
Okay. So, as I stated previously, I'm not a fan of the show. So, I don't have as much information, so we'll refer to my grandson's expertise. But Mark Guggenheim, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, so I apologize. He was quoted as saying, "My favorite fans of the show are the people who are not comic book fans." And so my question to you is, what do you think about that quote?
Not personally a fan of it, because if you're making it's like making a Batman making a Batman show and not intending it for Batman fans. You're making it maybe people liked the new Batman movie. I didn't. The one with Robert Pattinson, I think it was. It's they didn't. To me, it feels like they didn't intend to make it for Batman fans. They made it for a new generation. So in that sense, I don't agree with that comment, because you should always try to make it for the comic book fan if you're making a comic book TV show.
And then, is it Stephen
Amell.
Stephen Amell pointed out that the Green Arrow comic books and the show must include original characters, thereby extending Arrow's legacy to the comics. Do you agree with that statement?
Do you mean the characters they made for the show as original characters need to be in the comics? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, that in order for the comic books to continue to have readers, it can't continue without the introduction of new characters.
So does he mean it would just cease to exist without it?
Basically, in order for it to continue, for people to keep interest in the comics, you would have to put all these other characters or new characters in the comics.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think that's true?
No, I disagree with that. It is a nice addition for certain characters. Well, in my opinion, certain characters are a nice addition. I like John Diggle, Renee, and Sarah Lance, but they're not needed. They aren't needed. Oliver Queen is an interesting character in his own right, and so is the Black Canary, Dinah Laurel Lance, who should be the Black Canary, but that's a different thing.
That's a different topic.
Yeah,
right?
It's a different topic. And then Roy Harper, who is Arsenal in the TV show as well. He's an amazing character in his own right too. So I think them 3 alone is they could do a comic. It doesn't matter. You don't need them. They're nice to have. I like John Diggle, so he's someone I would like to make it a 4-man team. But you don't need him.
Yeah.
Really. Like, it wouldn't not exist without him, but...
So I don't know much about how it came about or anything like that.
Yeah.
And this is just a little fact about this comment. So before so I guess, I don't know, the TV show people and the comic book people got together and decided to, I don't know if they agreed with their statements, but they decided to make comic books with a whole bunch of new characters. So before the new comic books come out, comic book readers were about 22K.
Yeah.
When the new comics were developed, it jumped up to 23K.
Yeah.
But then immediately dropped to 21K. And then a year later, it dropped to 19K.
Yeah.
DC kind of went, whoa, 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 whoa. And they went out and enlisted Benjamin Percy. And he promoted the original Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And it resulted in the return of 50K in readers.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's definitely a savior of the series.
And, you know, I know some of our debates on the show Green Arrow, and one of my argument on the show is that, you know, again, kind of old school, but I expect Green Arrow to be somewhat funny.
Yeah.
Or nonchalant, maybe is the word. Or, you know, happy-go-lucky. He's happy with life, basically. I mean, he knows his issues. He's going to do his job.
Yeah.
He's going to, you know, do what he has to do. But he has a positive sense about him. And he's also a very faithful man in that Black Canary is his significant other, period, the end. So, you know, and watching the show, to me it was they were trying in some way to do a Batman show and couldn't, or whatever the case may be, or trying to make Green Arrow dark. And to me, one of the things I love about Green Arrow is he's not dark. So that was always my argument about Green Arrow. But the comic book Green Arrow, I do love. Yeah. And, you know, so we had this back and forth, and now he gets it. He gets that it's not the superhero Green Arrow that I don't like. It's the Green Arrow show and Green Arrow on the show that I don't like. With that said, I am not talking about the actors. The actors do a great job with what they have. I am not just, you know, picking on anyone or any. Actors are actors. They're doing their job and they're doing a fine job. That's nothing to do with that. But as a result of this, I want to start by saying the reality is my grandson hates reading. We're huge readers. I shouldn't say. My daughter and I are huge readers. My grandson hates reading. He doesn't like writing at all. So, you know, and I homeschool. So I take a different approach in terms of learning to get him to do what he needs to do. And there are certain things that are non-negotiable. He has to do them. But other than that, I try to get creative in what I do. And one of them is he loves Green Arrow. He has an interest in it. And he also has an interest in D&D. And that is Dungeons and Dragons, which is a role-playing game. So one of the ways that I get William to write and to think and to read and whatever is to develop his own D&D on Green Arrow. And as a result of that, he has written 2 Green Arrow.
Well, 2 really. The first one was just
you were learning. You were learning. It was like 3 pages or something like that.
I think I did 2 pages, but it's because I didn't know how long the story had to be. And
right.
And
then the second one was how long?
I think 10 pages. I want to say 10.
Okay. So he wrote a 10-page D&D game. Yeah. And then he wanted to do another one, and I said, wait. You give me one original D&D with, you know, new characters, whatever, and then you can go back and do another Green Arrow one. So he did. Can you get me your D&D?
Just give me a second.
I just want to show you how many pages.
I think I did 11 here.
Thank you. So as a result, he has written 11-page D&D game for us to play. I'm sorry, the video's shaking. 11-page D&D game for us to play when his mom goes on vacation, which is starting next weekend. And he has maps to go with it. So again, for someone who doesn't like to write, whether it's physical writing or typing, he doesn't like it, and he doesn't like to read. But he had to do his research. He had to write, and he had to think it through, how to set it up, what kinds of characters, names of places, right?
Yeah.
Where things were going to be. What was the mystery? What happens when someone goes into the cave and things like that. So, this is just a way that I utilize to get him to read, write, make corrections, but have fun while doing it, because we do enjoy the game D&D. And as a matter of fact, the first game was horrible, because he didn't know what he was doing. I don't know about D&D, but basically it was, you kept fighting, and that's all you did. And then we kind of waited till that was over, talked about it, and he goes, oh, I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z. I said to him, you need to go on YouTube, you need to watch the experts in D&D, figure out what they do, how they do it. He come back with a better one. He even said to me, I know how much you love murder mysteries, so I added a murder mystery in there too as a side quest. I was like, yes. And it was really good and really fun, and we enjoyed it. So he wanted to do it again. I said, I want a bigger one this time, and he did. And apparently there's another mystery in here as well. Another mystery in here as well. So point is if you're having trouble with your child to get them to read and to write, you need to find out what's their thing. Video games, anime, he loves. He has to have it in the primary language. And then the subtitles, he has to read it. So twofold with that, you get exposure to another language, as well as you have to read to know what's being said. So that's another trick of the trade for me, is when he is allowed to watch it, it has to be in the primary language. So those are just some tips and tricks, and I can't wait to do this. And I will also say that if I told him to write me an essay on Green Arrow, he would be over at the computer in 2 seconds writing another essay on Green Arrow or other superheroes. So, that's another way to get kids to be excited and to get them to do the things that you need them to do. And you just have to be creative. So, one of the things is geography and doing maps or whatever. Well, guess what? For D&D, he has to make me maps, and how do you do that? And you got to, where you placing them, and what kind of terrain is it, and all of that. So it's really kind of thinking outside the box and utilizing what you have. So overall, tell me, what are your thoughts on Green Arrow and D&D and your experience? Has it been fun? Has it been like a lot of work?
What do you mean,
making D&Ds where you have to read about Green Arrow on these characters, and you have to write these pages and come up with stories and things like that. I know you've also had to, we bought some guides. Yeah. You had to go through those. The first time, hysterical. I got him a guide, which really mapped out step 1. And step 1 had like 20 pages. So I'm thinking, I got him, All of a sudden he comes back and he goes, I got it. What do you got? Can you tell me what you got? Because I don't know what you got. And he goes, I just got to do A and B. And I'm looking, I'm going, That's how we ended up with the first D&D.
2 pages.
2 pages, because he thought he had it.
Yeah.
And when I said, well, did you read this because I think it's supposed to have that. No, I just went here and here, you know, because you don't like to read, so you just skip to the things, you know. So go back. If you want me to play D&D, go back. And he did, and he kept at it, and then we bought a second one.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we bought a game.
Yeah.
So that you could try that. Yeah. And we didn't kind of like the story. Yeah, the story wasn't great, but the idea
of what they were trying to do was
I think that helped you too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's kind of getting a whole bunch of things into gathering it together, and then allowing creativity to creep through. Yeah. And you did that. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm glad my grandson come on to my channel and did an interview and did a great job. Yeah. Maybe I can bring him back more often for other things. I don't know. We'll see. At one time, he did want to start his own YouTube channel, but it's work. And, you know, at that time, he didn't want to do the work because it would have been reading, you know. So we'll see. But he also watches a lot of YouTubers on Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. Do you want to do a shout out to any of them? Mm-hmm. Is there one that you prefer?
I don't know their channel names. Really.
You don't know their channel names? No. Okay.
I really just watched the video. I don't, if I'm being honest, I don't really know their channel names, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay. So if he wants to look it up, the ones that he does watch, I can put it in the description below, because I know there's one or two. I know their voices because you watch them, and when I have to do drive-in, Will comes with me, and we have to listen to the Bible with Father Mike, and then he needs to do some reading in the car, and then he can watch one video of whichever person. So I kind of know their voices. If you want to look those up, I can give them credit in the description.
I know one of them. I only know the first part of one of them. It was Ross something. And he did a video, The Redemption of Arrow. It might pop up then. It had like 500K views. But he did a video called The Redemption of Arrow, and that's where he talked about season 5. With the one who was talking about the helicopter clip.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that, but I don't remember what the last part of his channel was, like the last part of the name.
Okay.
I just remember Ross.
Okay, so if you want to look that up, we can put that in the description below. If people are interested to see that YouTube channel on Green Arrow. Does he just do Green Arrow?
No, he does other things. I know he does some on The Flash as well. I think one of his videos on The Flash were positive, which was on season 1, because he didn't start making any. Actually, his first video of Arrow or Flash was Arrow, and he titled it. It was like a 3-part series, The Downfall of Arrow, and he talked about season 3 and 4. And then he did season 5 of Arrow, which is what I already said, The Redemption, and he did The Flash season 3, why he didn't like it. Okay. And then he didn't do Arrow again at all until it ended, so he did 6, 7, and 8 all in one video. It's like 15 minutes. And then The Flash, he did season 6, 7, and 8, so far.
Okay, so he does the superhero kind of videos. Okay, so he'll look up that channel, and I'll put it in the description box, so that if you want to take a look at that, you can. And also, I will put in, let me write that down. The other thing that I want to say is also to further back up homeschooling, there is the website OutSchool. And Will actually has to take classes, and he took the first one on D&D, and he's going to take the next 2 as well. And again, it's reading, it's writing, it's being creative, it's participating in groups with other kids and the teacher. To share ideas, it's really, really good. So if your children are interested in Dungeons and Dragons, I highly recommend OutSchool's classes, and they're those ones I think are just the day, like just the hour or two. They do have a million other courses that can go for weeks. So, you know, it's not just Dungeons and Dragons. They have all kinds of things. But I was just trying to give you another example of how I tie everything in. So he's reading, he's watching a show, he's taking an online class, he's having debates with me on superheroes. He's writing his own D&D, and we're playing the D&D game. And then after the game, we're able to review it, criticize it in a positive way to say, you know, this was great. Can we change this? Can we make it better? And he does. Every time he goes back to the drawing board and makes it a little better and makes it a little better. So, you know, it's almost like a full curriculum. So, you know, again, you can get very creative and meet kids where they're at to an extent. Again, still not negotiable. He has to do regular math and science and all of that. But if I can tie that into, which I haven't been able to tie math into, unfortunately, into this, but whatever I can tie into this, I will, in order to get the curriculum. Again, making maps, looking up how maps are made, practicing maps, you know, learning where things get placed, all of that is all part of this one lesson plan of Green Arrow and Dungeons and Dragons. So it can be done. I hope that is helpful. Again, I'll leave everything in the description box below. Do you have any last comments?
I was gonna say, what?
Oh, well, I had put some notes on the side as to some of the questions. And I agreed with your statement that Batman has a more tactile mind, and he is a forward thinker, where Green Arrow is in the moment. In the moment. And I think, yes, Green Arrow's cockiness and his pride leads him to make mistakes, but that's one of the things I love about him, you know, is because he's a light version. He's a light character. It doesn't mean he's not caring. It doesn't mean he's not a superhero. It doesn't mean he doesn't do what he needs to do, but he's a happy, positive person. And that's what I like about him. And his moral code is that he will only kill if he has no choice. And I do have down, he has the ideals of Robin Hood. And I want to reiterate that comic book fans do not agree with the statements of Amal and Mark Guggenheim. And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but
it's not to me.
So I mean, and you know, and that's a perfect example that although, you know, William likes the show and I do not, that doesn't mean we disagree on everything. And again, disagreement is okay. That's part of the debate, which is school. You need to learn how to debate. Are we tired?
A
little bit. We need to learn how to debate and how to do it positively and respectfully and professionally. And Will's learning that. And learning that it's okay to have difference of opinions, and to be able to argue your case in a respectful and kind manner, and know that when you walk away, the other person still might not agree with you. It's okay. Or the person might agree with you, and yay, you know, but whichever way, it's okay. So, so that's my rambling for today. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think I did remember one of their names fully. I think his channel name was The Black Lion, I think.
The Black Lion?
Yeah, and he did videos on Arrow as well, and his favorite season is season 5 of Arrow.
Okay.
His favorite one.
So one of the YouTubers is a shout out to The Black Lion, who does Arrow.
He does a bunch. I think he really mainly does the Arrowverse content.
Mainly the Arrow? Okay, so mainly the Arrowverse. So if you want to jump over to his channel and give him a like and subscribe, that would be great. But I will put it in the description box below. And until next time, I hope that you are all safe and I hope you're all loved. Bye.